Welcome to Tamara Tattletales. I'm Tamara, and I spill the tea on your favorite reality stars. Love is Blind, Season 2, Episodes 1 through 8. The pods are open, and so is the drama. I've put together a list of 13 wild moments that have really stood out so far. Shake came locked and loaded with questions to help visualize what the ladies look like. Are you Latina? I love buying clothes for girls. What's your size? Do you like working out? How old are you? If we were at a music festival, would I be able to put you on my shoulders? Apparently, Shake thought this was a game show where the goal was to ask as many questions necessary to figure out what the women look like. I have no doubt that he turned off a lot of women with this. He did not understand the assignment. So Shain walks into the pod. Hello, who am I talking to? I don't know, take a guess. Oh, Shaina, there you go. What? That's what I was hoping for. What are you wearing over there? Hello? Shaina, stop. It's Natalie. Oops. He thought it was weird that she was offended because they were both talking to other people. She felt let on because he was making future plans with her, like what they were going to do when they get back to Chicago. And she told him that she had strong feelings for him. He said that he was there for the right reasons, to find his wife, and he was giving it his all and just happens to be very passionate. I have to talk to other people. You're on the cover of my book with a heart on it and you're my number one. She asked if this is going anywhere. So he's thinking if this little hiccup changes everything, then maybe this wasn't what they thought it was. Frustrated, he leaves. It did feel like she put too much weight on this mistake. He called her the wrong name and asked what she was wearing. If he had said something like, Shaina, my wifey, or my number one, what up? Then I could see her being upset. So he sets the mood by having tacos in the pods for them because he said she likes tacos. He expresses that he could see himself being with her for the rest of his life. And he asked her, do you see a future with me? If I were to propose? And then she starts crying and she's just like, I'm such an ugly crier. I enjoy our time together so much. I love exploring what we have in common. You're such an amazing person, but I'm more drawn to my other connection. I'm so sorry. Are you okay? No. What can I say? It's over. And he storms out crying. So after being heartbroken by Mallory, he told Iyanna what happened, hurt her little feelings. Then it seemed like he just wiped his tears, changed his shirt, and then professed his love to Iyanna, got on one knee and asked her to marry him. That really played out where she looked like a runner-up. She was nervous about it, but with his reassurance, she said yes. After watching the show, I wonder if she'll feel like his second choice. Trisha, the Instagram princess. She loved to brag about things that most guys don't care about. I have a huge Instagram following. Obviously, I have a lot of friends. It's crazy. And I think I'm really good at these pods because my job, I have 5 to 20 people in my car at a time. Then she tells Natalie, I'm really into one guy, but I'm afraid that he's going to get vibes from a lot of the other guys and not come after me because I think a lot of the other guys like me. A lot of them like me. So we see her at the confessional and she's saying, I have a lot of friends and it's really hard for me to understand why a girl like me doesn't have a boyfriend or a hookup or someone I'm talking to. On a scale from 1 to 10, I'm a catch. On a scale from 1 to 10, catch isn't an option. So she continues on to say, I really like Nick, but there's another girl that's into him. Is the girl's name Holly or Molly? Holly. No, I think it's Molly. And then the producer says, Danielle. No, I think it's Dolly. So later on, she meets with Nick and he's like, hey, who's this? It's Trisha. Hey, Trisha, what's up? Oh my god, why are all the guys so excited to talk to me? I think all of you guys are going after me, but don't tell them that I said that. So Shaina and Kyle seem to be getting close for a few days, and even though it's important to her, she waits until they are practically in love before asking him about his faith. So he says he grew up Catholic, but he's not religious anymore and that he's an atheist, and she was a little shocked and disappointed. So she gave him like a scenario. What would happen if they were married with kids and she wanted to say grace? And then he said he'd fart and burp and then ask who's Grace. Okay, what are we, 8 years old? He said he believes in science and is resistant to being brainwashed. And she says, you believe that it was an accident that we were here? And he said, no, I believe in evolution. And he says, some guy wrote a book and you believe it? And she said, unless you have read the entire thing, you can't talk bad about it. This was a huge red flag for both of them. So Shaina enters the pod and sees the wedding ring. But before he can propose, she expresses concern over their core values. But he feels like they can overcome them and thinks that he will never find the exact perfect match. But this match with her feels really right. And she is clearly unsure about their differences and believes they will continue to bump heads. But he's way too much in his happy place to really hear what she's saying. And he asks her to open up the box that is sitting there in front of her because it contains his mother's wedding ring, and her mouth drops open and he asks her to marry him. She pauses and has doubt and images of Shain written all over her face. It was pretty clear that she didn't want to marry him, but she said yes. Shain walks into the pod ready to propose to Natalie. He's pumped up and excited. He starts right in with his little speech that he prepared, but hears silence and he asks, are you okay? And then Shaina says, I'm good. So she expresses that she has all these deep feelings for him and that she would be a good and faithful wife to him, and that she allowed her pride to get in the way of expressing her true feelings, and she regrets taking a back seat after hearing how he was progressing with Natalie. Mind you, she is fresh off of saying yes to Kyle's marriage proposal. So Shane is deeply upset that Shaina didn't express her feelings sooner because he felt the same way about her. So he's pacing all over the place, moaning like, ugh. But he stands firm on his decision and tells Shaina, it's too late. You wasted time that we cannot get back. You had your chance and it's not happening now. The connection he had with Natalie is so strong, and he said it's too late for that. Now that was a good answer. After they arrived to Mexico, they were in the pool and Deep was super excited. I think our kids are gonna be so cute and smart. I think we're both ready to commit to each other, and I'm so excited to connect with you on all these levels. Do you just want to get married and just say like, it? Are you excited to love me? But it's painfully clear that something is wrong from Shake's perspective. To the confessional cam, sitting in a weird position, kind of looking half naked, he admits that he feels apprehensive touching and trying to connect physically. He's not sure if he's feeling the body connection that he wanted to feel. Like, physical attraction is not there. The next night at the group mixer, he tells Jerrette, I'm not physically attracted to her. I feel like I'm with my aunt. Then he sits down with Shain and he asks Shake about their intimacy. He's like, dude, no. We get along great, but physical attraction? Meanwhile, Deep is super excited and seems to have no idea that he's struggling with attraction. At the group mixer, Jerrette goes over to the bar to have a chat with Mallory. She said she was so caught off guard by his semi-proposal because she never knew that she was his number one. And he's like, how could you not know that? I called you Mau Mau. Mau Mau. Who else gave you a nickname? Okay, is that the bar we said? If a guy gives you a nickname, you're his number one? Anyway, Jerrette is on the down low, still trying to sell himself to her. reminding her that he would have been the dude she could have watched sports with. He would have gotten her a gold ring instead of the white gold Salvador got her because he knew she liked gold since he bothered to ask. I mean, these two were in their own world and they were just vibing. In the meantime, Iyanna was watching but trying to pretend like she wasn't bothered, and Salvador was just straight up on the sideline crying because he didn't feel like Mallory was interested in him and he just wanted to go home. Throughout the Mexico trip, Shayne is fishing for compliments from Natalie. Clearly, his love language is word of affirmation. However, Natalie's native language seems to be sarcasm, and she don't know anything about a compliment. On his birthday, he asked for a compliment, and she called him a piece of shit. They were sitting on the beach having a nice conversation, and Shannon's expressing how much he loves her and how beautiful she is. And after hearing the compliment, she smacks him in the chest like a 6-year-old, and he's like, ouch. So he asks her, do you think I'm pretty? And she says, are you fishing for compliments? He tells her she jokes too much and it spoils the mood. And then she looks surprised, kind of like, really? I think I'm hilarious. Then later, they have their first dinner date. It's very romantic and they're talking about their differences. And she points out that when he's with his guy friends, his energy is on another level and it's a lot for her, but it's nothing that they need to work on, just something she has to get used to. And he's trying to be cute and he says, plus it's the person you love, right? And she says, yeah. And he's like, dang, can you put a little more love in that? And then they get into an argument because she jokes a lot about the relationship, but doesn't say many nice things. And he says, why don't you ever say how good it is? And she says, why do I have to talk about how great it is with other people? That's not my style. He doesn't understand why she won't brag about it. You don't brag about your purses and your coats. You brag about how a guy treats you. She thinks he has high expectations. She's not going to brag. She's not about the PDA, nor going to be super affectionate. And he's like, I didn't ask that question. She admits that she's shutting down during this conversation, and he takes a gulp of his drink and says, I'm done, and walks away. Nick comes back from the couples mixer and starts gossiping about the other couples, and Danielle tells him that she was watching him and saw him walking towards the beach. So he's sitting there thinking that things are fine and there's no penetrating their relationship. She says that after being alone for 3 hours, she had nothing to do but be in her head, and just she sat in the closet, locked the door, and cried. He asked if she thinks anything about the night changed how he feels about her. She said that she didn't know, but if she was the one to leave and he sat in the closet and cried for 3 hours, well, he would probably feel a little different about things too. Newsflash, sitting in the closet and crying for 3 hours is not basic behavior. Anyway, it's not even clear what she's so upset about. Maybe she told him to go to the party but really didn't mean it. She's carrying on about how she no longer trusts him, and he's telling her that she's being toxic and needs to stop. At this point, she seems to just be manufacturing things in her head that didn't even happen in real life. Fast forward to dinner, she's scared of being judged for having a panic attack, and the way he's looking at her, she can tell that he's judging her. He says he's not judging, he's just trying to support her, and she unconvincingly says, okay, I believe you when you say that. Then she starts to spiral in her own pit of insecurities, while all he's doing is trying to understand why she gets this way. And again, it's difficult to know what she's so angry about. Eventually, he does walk over to her and give her a hug, but this looks like it's going to be an ongoing theme in their relationship. Arguments about incidents that happen in her head and not in real life. After not eating meat in 8 years, he tries a piece of her steak and loves it. He steps away to take a shower while Shaina talks to confessional cam. She explains that she wants to talk with him about their differences, but on the other hand, she doesn't because she knows what the outcome will be. When he gets out of the shower, she tells him that she wants to set some boundaries because she hasn't in the past and it didn't work out. So she says she's going to sleep in a separate room, and his little feelings were so hurt. He asked if she didn't trust him and said they could take their time, and she said she trusts him and then went back to her boundaries excuse. It's only 7:45, but she bounces, claiming that she wants to go to bed. So now he's talking to the confessional cam and singing her praises about how dynamic and special she is, and that he's the lucky one for getting to be with her. Meanwhile, she's talking to the confessional cam saying that they are both passionate about their beliefs, and she still can't get Shayne out of her head. And she says she knows what she needs to do, which is to leave Mexico as a single woman.